Can Harley Quinn work without the Joker? It's a question that's been asked quite a lot recently, especially as Harley Quinn's portrayals have been...
I was thinking something more fashion-forward.
bad. Now, this might come as a surprise to some people, particularly those who were younger and weren't around for the 90s, but Harley Quinn was really popular for a reason. When she was introduced in Batman the Animated Series as Joker's henchwoman, I don't think anyone really predicted that she would become one of the most popular characters in the show, and get so popular she would migrate into the comics and even make her way into other Batman adaptations. She really was one of the greatest breakout characters from the show. One of several, actually, because several characters ended up coming into the comics from the show. But in recent years, her character has been handled not so great.
Understatement is the description of something as having much less of a particular quality than it does.
If you've seen stuff like the 2017 Suicide Squad movie, or, gosh dang it, the Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League game, which I talked about in my last video.
Harley, no!
Worth it.
Then you've seen Harley Quinn probably at her worst. You see, originally, Harley Quinn was basically just an accessory to the Joker. Right? She was just there to be his henchwoman and his obsessed, pathetic, codependent girlfriend. And for a while now, to be perfectly honest, they've been trying to move her away from just being the Joker's lackey into being a more independent character, which is actually a fine idea. And I think it's a very good thing to do with the character, because having her just be a basic henchwoman who's obsessed with the Joker and nothing else, it would get dull after 30 years. But the problem is that she hasn't been written well. And it's gotten to the point where there are a lot of people now who will even say, well, Harley Quinn just can't work on her own. She is just a character who works as the Joker's henchwoman. And
I disagree. I disagree, Gary.
The thing is I believe Harley Quinn has quite a lot of potential as a character to be completely separate from the Joker. The thing is that they've rarely tapped into that potential, and they've never capitalized on it. There are some episodes of Batman the Animated Series that actually show that, if she just pushes a little harder, Harley could possibly get a redemption. We've seen even in the comics that we have Harley confronting stuff that she's done, and rightfully calling out the fact that, despite the fact that Harley is a victim, she's done some bad stuff to people. Just because she was manipulated by the Joker doesn't absolve her of any responsibility for what she's done. And good stories acknowledge that. I think it's absolutely possible to redeem Harley. The problem is that you have to acknowledge that there's something to redeem. I've talked about this before with redemption arcs, but you actually have to be honest about the redemption. Like, when you look at something like Zuko in Avatar: The Last Airbender, right? The show never shies away from the fact that Zuko did bad stuff. He wasn't evil, right? He didn't go around murdering people for lulz or anything insane like that. But he did do bad stuff that he needed to atone for, and he needed to redeem himself for. It's not just the, oh, well, you're a goody person who hasn't actually done anything wrong, and you were just on the wrong side. No, he did do something wrong, and he tried to work to redeem himself. Harley, I think, would be a fascinating character to watch a redemption arc. It's not something that would happen overnight. You could spend years in a comic. You could have a comic dedicated to Harley Quinn, entirely trying to redeem herself. And this is where DC stumbled, because in separating her from the Joker, they decided not to focus on her faults as a character, her weaknesses, the reasons why she was manipulated by the Joker. No. They tried to make her more strong and independent, which is fine if there was a strong redemption arc leading to that. She can be a strong, independent character. The problem is that they just wanted to skip right to that. At times, they try to make her like Joker 2.0, but more of an anti-hero. So they tried to crank up her insanity and wackiness, but they don't want you to hate her, so they try to make her more of an anti-hero. And other times, they try to make her more of a female Deadpool, where she's super goofy and wacky and makes really self-aware comments. We already have a blonde female Deadpool. Her name is Gwenpool, and she can actually be pretty funny. So sorry, Harley, that position is taken. But Harley doesn't work in those positions. Like, you can't actually have her be, like, breaking the fourth wall like Deadpool, because that's a very specific gimmick for his character and other characters like She-Hulk or Gwenpool. And you can't really make her the Joker because she doesn't work as that. The thing is that fundamentally, Harley has more humanity than the Joker. And to talk about this a little bit, there's 3 episodes of Batman the Animated Series that are great to talk about with Harley's character. Now, she's in more than 3 episodes, but these are episodes that specifically focus on her. You have Harley and Ivy, Harlequinade, and Harley's Holiday. Harley and Ivy has the Joker getting mad that Harley screwed up, mostly because of his mistakes.
Quick, turn here!
But boss, that's...
I said turn!
Yes, sir!
Why didn't you tell?
And he fires her. He throws her out.
Fine, I'll show you. You'll be sorry. I'll pull a big heist and I'll be laughing at you. Ha ha, you hear? Laughing. I miss him already.
So in an attempt to do crime on her own, she ends up running into Poison Ivy. And this is where their friendship starts in Batman the Animated Series.
Hey, aren't you that plant lady, Poison Oakie?
Ivy, Poison Ivy.
Harley Quinn, pleased to meet ya. Yes!
This could be the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
So they start working together, and ultimately you find that despite the fact that she's having success with Poison Ivy, she still misses the Joker.
No offense,
Ivy tries to encourage Harley in the episode to have more self-confidence, be more independent, especially independent from the Joker. But Harley just doesn't absorb any of that. Because no matter how bad he treated her, she's that battered housewife, literally going, yeah, he can be rough, but he loves me.
Why do you put up with that clown?
don't get me wrong. My pudding's a little rough sometimes, but he loves me, really.
To the point where she even gets back in contact with the Joker, and the Joker, wanting her around so that she can do stuff for him, ends up going to get her. Mostly because he sees her as his property. The Joker's kind of a bad guy.
Understatement is the description of something as having much less of a particular quality than it does.
Even at the end when Ivy literally drags Harley away, which she has to physically drag her away from Joker because she'd never leave him voluntarily, they still get arrested. Hey, she said no man would get them, but Renee Montoya is a woman.
She demanded that she be sent to jail just like any man who broke the law. And that's exactly what we're gonna do to you.
Harley didn't have much agency in the episode, being mostly led around by Poison Ivy and their feminist-themed crime spree, and then caving once Joker showed up again, only to be dragged around by Ivy again. But it really fits her character. She doesn't really have anything on her own. She doesn't really have anything to identify her outside of being alongside someone else. From being a lackey for Joker, but also needing Ivy to define her new crime spree that she's ultimately not that passionate about. Her original intention with her crime that ultimately ended up leading her to joining Ivy was to impress Joker and win him back.
Ooh, Mr. J will just lots when I give him.
And ultimately, by the end of the episode, she ends up not really learning anything.
Next time I start a gang, no women. No women!
I think we can still work it out, don't you?
So that situation seemed like a wash, and she didn't really make much progress, even though she was starting to get away from the Joker. Though, this is really a starting point for her character. While she didn't learn any lessons or really grow all that much, we did get to see the true dysfunction of Harley's relationship with Joker, her insane codependency and obsession with him, despite him being outright abusive.
When have you ever contributed a worthwhile idea to this gang?
I did get us away from Batman.
Oh, huzzah! The kid gets lucky and she...
And we will get to see more of her breaking away from the Joker and what it would really take to push her over the edge to rebel against him in the next episode. Harlequinade is actually an interesting story because it focuses more on Harley working with Batman. The Joker does bad stuff, he's got a bomb.
Grab him, he's got a bomb!
And Batman needs Harley to help him find the Joker.
You help me find the Joker, and they'll write your ticket out of here. If you promise no double-cross.
Ah, shoot, take all the fun out of life.
So through a back and forth, Harley does end up helping Batman get there. Given that Harley is Harley, there are of course antics as she tries to keep up with Batman, who clearly doesn't fully trust her.
I sense a lack of trust.
Harley even helps Batman by faking a betrayal to trick a criminal they stumbled onto, and did an impromptu musical number to distract everyone while Robin came in to help.
Be aloof when you pushed me off the roof. I feel our romance is dead.
It's an odd relationship to be sure, but she was able to help with all her eccentricities. Which is even funnier since she's still technically not on Batman's side. After Robin gives them some intel, Harley gloats about Joker's plan since she figured out that he had kidnapped the mayor to tie up the cops and keep them from doing anything.
Oh, it's brilliant. Way to go, Mr. J. You've seen how my puddin' keeps an eye on Gotham. What better way to tie up the cops than to tie up the mayor?
Though despite the fact that she was gloating about how great Joker's plan was, this revelation from Harley does lead them right to Joker. Then she ultimately betrays him when he actually starts fighting the Joker because she didn't want him to hurt the Joker.
Quinn, we had a deal.
Deal's off, B-Man. No one ever said anything about hurting Mr. J.
And it's also pointed out that he wouldn't have had enough time to go get Harley from Arkham Asylum had Batman not brought her there.
It's lucky you were here, Harley. The countdown sequence didn't leave Joker enough time to swing by Arkham and pick you up.
You were gonna come back for me, weren't you, Puddin'?
Of course, pumpkin pie. Well, here you are, so I can save myself the trip.
But then Harley realized that Joker was basically going to nuke the entire city and not save any of their friends.
But what about all our friends? Ivy and Two-Face and Hat Guy and Lizard Man and Puppet Head and...
What about them?
So then when she realizes that he's not going to save any of her friends from Arkham Asylum, and especially when Batman reminds her that her babies, her pet hyenas, were not going to be saved, this is where she turns on the Joker.
Don't forget your little pets.
The babies! We can't leave the babies!
I'll buy you a goldfish. Let's go!
Showing very specifically that Harley has much more humanity than the Joker. That she has people that she actually cares about. And the fact that the hyenas, specifically, that she really adores her hyenas, the fact that they were going to die in the explosion, that was enough to make her turn on the Joker. So not only does she fight against the Joker, saves Batman, and feels bad about actually betraying him.
You know, Bats, I got a crazy idea. Mr. J may not be the guy for me after all.
She then ends up putting a gun to Joker's face, and was ready to pull the trigger.
Freeze, clown!
Quinn, stop!
He's mine, Bats!
You wouldn't dare. You don't have the guts. Not in a million years, would you?
The gun was a fake gag gun. The Joker has many of those. But Harley was ready to blow his brains out. She had reached her limit and she was this close to ending the Joker's life. But then she realized that she didn't actually have a real gun, cowers, and then the Joker manipulates her and she falls for him.
Baby, you're the greatest.
Batman the Animated Series has some tragic endings. And yes, we have endings like episodes for like Baby Doll, right? Those are very sad endings. But the ending of Harlequinade is heartbreaking because you see that Harley was this close to breaking free of the Joker. She was this close, but that part of her that's obsessed with the Joker kept her from honestly committing to that.
We were on the verge of greatness. We were this close.
She had so much potential. She was working with Batman, as tenuous as the working relationship was. But like, she was showing that she actually could be a good ally to Batman. So when people say, oh, well, she can't do it. No. She could work. No, I'm not a fan of her being a part of the Bat family. But I think she could work as an ally. Maybe being a bit more anti-hero and more neutral to the conflicts, but sort of helping out Batman. And because she's got this goofy, bubbly personality, she actually plays really well off of Batman's very serious nature.
Did you see the way I handled those creeps? Pow! Bam! Ooh, Batgirl, eat your heart out.
What was she before she went bonkers?
A clinical psychiatrist.
Figures.
Harlequinade really did show that Harley has potential to be away from the Joker and even helping Batman. But multiple reasons kept her from doing that. From in-universe reasons, such as her obsession with the Joker being something that she is shackled by. And some more real-life reasons, like the show being very episodic, and as we see with other villains like Riddler and Penguin, they're not really allowed to redeem themselves and become actually good guys. Even if there's that potential. It doesn't happen. But Harlequinade really does show the potential that Harley has, not just being separated from the Joker, but as an ally to Batman. With her own set of skills and her criminal connections, she could actually be a great ally to Batman. If only she could fully get away from the Joker.
Which is actually something we're going to see in the last episode I want to cover.
And that leads me into the third episode I want to talk about, which is Harley's Holiday. So the setup for this episode is that Harley is getting checked out of Arkham Asylum. She's actually being deemed as capable of living a normal life.
You've made wonderful progress, Harley. You've passed your competency hearing. And
I hear you're getting out tomorrow.
You got a problem with that?
Congratulations.
So I made a few mistakes. I've got my head back together and I'm gonna live my life right.
So Harley is free. The Joker is not in this episode. She doesn't have any direct conflict. And she's trying to live her life. She goes to a department store to buy a new dress.
you can't bring those things in here.
It's okay. Your house broken.
And of course, Harley runs into Bruce Wayne at the store, and we get a ridiculous scene of Harley interacting with Bruce without realizing he's Batman.
Wow, I never saw them do that before. Hey, don't I know you? Something about that chin. I know! You're Bruce Wayne, the boy billionaire.
Harley is really insistent on declaring her stability. She even carries around her declaration of sanity. She's very proud of herself and clearly wants to live a normal life after all the crap she's gone through.
Hey, remember me? That big charity bash a few years back? The one the Joker robbed? I was the clown girl holding the... Oh, don't worry, I'm over the crime thing, see?
She pays for it, then walks out without letting them remove the security tag, and because the alarm goes off and the security guard tries to go to her, she freaks out thinking that they're going to arrest her, even though she paid for her dress.
I just want to live a normal life without some cop always pouncing on me. Hey, what's the deal? I didn't do anything.
That's a security alarm.
It's my dress. I paid for it fair and square.
I know. Just let me remove the security tag and...
You ain't taking me back to the slammer, John Law.
Which then leads her to, in a panic, resuming the Harley Quinn persona.
Miss? Please, I'm sure this has all been a simple misunderstanding. You don't want to mess things up on your first day out.
I tried to play by the rules, but no, they wouldn't let me go straight. Society is to blame. Back off, rich boy. I'm armed.
And kidnapping Veronica Vreeland.
Scoot over, Toots. driving.
And going on the run trying to get away from the cops because she's like absolutely panicked about being thrown back in Arkham Asylum. You can see the mistakes she's making, but it's understandable because we know that Harley Quinn is kind of cuckoo. But at this point you can see she means well.
Harley ends up going to Boxy Bennett, the criminal from Harlequinade that Harley tricked while helping Batman, and when he calls out how unlikely it is that he'll help her, she makes a really convincing argument to him.
The last time I seen you, you not only ruined my club, but brought the freaking Batman down on my head as well. Give me one good reason I do not dust you right now. I'll buy that.
That's fair. Harley wants him to help her get out of town, but when Boxy says he's going to ransom Veronica, Harley actually fights back on that, insisting that after she's out of town, Veronica should be let go peacefully to go home.
So, how soon can you sneak me out of town?
Leave us not be hasty. We have a friendship to renew, and Miss Moneybags to ransom off.
Oh no, we can't do that. See, I'm giving up the crime thing. I only grabbed her because I needed a car. Once I'm gone, she goes home safe and sound.
It's clear that this is where we start to see a change in Veronica's attitude towards Harley. Now, of course, Batman, who has been following Harley since she drove off from the store, shows up and things go sideways.
We're safe, thank goodness.
Harley helps Veronica escape when Boxy tries to take her hostage, and she runs off with Veronica while Batman and Robin are dealing with Boxy's goons.
Now Harley ends up actually having a pretty decent interaction with Veronica Vreeland.
Did you mean what you said back there? About sending me home?
Sure, you're a good kid, and I do kind of feel a little bit responsible for all this.
No kidding. So, what'll happen to you?
If I'm lucky, I'll make it out of town before Bats hauls my hiney back to the bin.
Can't you explain that it was all just a mistake?
With my past, I don't even believe it myself.
So Veronica ends up striking a deal with Harley, like, okay, alright, just, in this, I'll drop all charges.
Look, let's make a deal. You get me out of this alive, and I'll drop all the charges.
Yeah? Hey, you're all right, Toots. For the first time today, I think things are finally looking up.
There's a whole bunch of crazy stuff that happens because Veronica's father is a general in the military and he brings in a tank to attack Harley Quinn. It's a pretty wild episode.
What are you doing? That's my father. No, that's your father in a tank.
All of the subplots in the episode crash together, literally. And Harley drops Veronica off with Batman and Robin, and then she leaves.
Well, that's my good deed for the day. Bye!
Batman chases after her and pleads with her to just come back, because she's so close to having a normal life.
Listen to me. All the work you've done, your freedom. If you run away, you'll lose them, Harley. You're so close to winning back your real life. Why risk it now?
But after the bad day Harley has had, she's just angry and bitter. Especially since she couldn't keep the dress she rightfully and legally bought.
I'm having a bad day. I'm sick of people trying to shoot me, run me over, and blow me up. I didn't even get to keep my new dress. And I actually paid for it.
Harley believes at this point that there's no way she'll be able to succeed at being good and just goes back to being Harley Quinn.
I tried to be good. I really did. But if that's not good enough, fine. Let's get back to basics.
She inadvertently almost causes her own death, and through a series of shenanigans, she manages to survive, and is ultimately rescued by Batman, who of course brings her back to Arkham.
Talk about grasping at straws. Oh well, at least I'm going out on a joke.
So in the end, when Batman brings Harley back to Arkham Asylum, you find out that Veronica kept her word. She's not pressing any charges.
Home again, jiggity jig.
Not for too long, though. Miss Vreeland dropped the kidnapping charges. With a little more hard work, you should be ready to re-enter society for good.
Yay.
Which definitely helps Harley out when it comes to trying to get back to the point where she was allowed to leave. And ultimately, Batman brings Harley the dress that she tried to buy, but ultimately ended up losing in all the kerfuffle, so that she can actually have that thing that she bought and that she really wanted. And Harley is actually really thankful to Batman and is kind of surprised that he would go so far to help her.
There's one thing I gotta know. How'd you stay with me all day, risking your butt for someone who's never given you anything but trouble?
I know what it's like to try and rebuild a life. I had a bad day too, once.
Nice guys like you shouldn't have bad days.
And of course he vaguely alludes to his tragic backstory about how he had a really bad day before. Really showing that yes, Batman does want to help his Rose Galleries, and Harley was someone who was trying. So despite the fact that she didn't get her full-on redemption, it actually was really nice to see that she really was trying, and she doesn't go back to the Joker here. It's actually really great to see.
Not only does she not go back to the Joker in this episode, she decides to just flat out make out with Batman.
Call me.
Don't press your luck.
With this episode, you see so much potential for Harley's character to grow beyond the initial idea that she came from, to show different dimensions, and to be her own person outside of the Joker.
What are you looking at?
I wanted to focus on those 3 episodes, especially because Batman the Animated Series is where Harley Quinn came from.
I could go into things such as the Mad Love episode from the New Adventures, or talk about the Batman Adventures comic and Harley's appearances in it, but I really wanted to keep this focused on the main Harley episodes from the original run of Batman the Animated Series. I wanted to emphasize that this depth to Harley's character and the potential she has always been there, even back in the early 90s, before she truly blew up in popularity or was adapted into comics and movies and everything else. It wasn't something added in years after the fact, it was something the original writers came up with in her original appearances. Unfortunately, her potential just keeps getting squandered.
Such wasted potential.
I want to see Harley go through that arc. I want to see more Batman media, whether it be cartoons, comics, video games, movies, whatever. Actually utilize Harley's character, having her face those consequences, put in the work to be better.
Addressing the fact that she had done bad stuff, and Harley would actually have to face her own crimes and actually redeem herself more than just leaving the Joker, which unfortunately has become all too common in modern media, where she leaves the Joker and boom, alright, that's behind her, she can just be wacky and goofy now. Like, no, there's a lot more to it. And I really wanted to focus on those 3 episodes because they shows from the original writers who created Harley Quinn the depth that her character has. She's more than just the female Joker. She's more than just wacky and goofy. She is a traumatized and abused character who has done bad things to other people because of the abuse and manipulation she suffered at the hands of the Joker. She does have the potential to become a better person. And we do know within the continuity of the DCAU that in the future, after the Joker is dead and gone, she was able to move on, have a family, have kids, have grandkids.
Break a grandmother's heart! I hope they throw the book at you!
Oh, shut up, Nana Harley.
And it's like, yeah, Harley does have that potential. And unfortunately, a lot of modern versions of Harley just are not written well.
Oh! Ew! Dude! What the fuck?
Harley is a character you need to actually take seriously. If a kids show from the early 90s could do it, surely big budget Hollywood movies, major AAA video games, and modern comic writers could do the same. But unfortunately, a lot of that has been just kind of thrown out. There have been comics at times that actually did deal with this, but a lot of that has gone by the wayside. It feels like they just really want to turn Harley into a really strong, independent character, but I'm like, she's really someone who has a lot of issues to deal with, And like I said before, you could have an entire comic run for years, just dedicated to her trying to redeem herself. There is a lot you can do with Harley. To face what she's done, to grow as a person, and then to become that better person, so that you can have her be, whether it's a civilian, or an ally to Batman, or an anti-hero, whatever they really want to do with her character from there. Like, there's this journey that she needs to go on, but they want to skip from point A to point E, missing all the development in between. Because there is a lot you would have to do, apart from just leaving the Joker. And unfortunately, it tends to be just, alright, she's not with the Joker anymore, she's fine. She's just wacky and silly, guys. Like, no. And yes, not every single version of Harley is going to be as redeemable. Others, like, say, Arkhamverse Harley, probably going to be a lot harder to redeem her than Batman the Animated Series Harley. But if DC really wants to focus on Harley as a main character that they really give a lot of focus to, then you'd be way better off actually giving her that journey. One that would allow people to get attached to her as a better person and not just as Joker's henchwoman. And really allow people to see the potential in her character. Because ultimately, I think that's the real problem that people have with seeing Harley as anything other than the Joker's girlfriend. It's because a lot of modern media has completely skipped all of the humanization that Harley had from Batman the Animated Series. And they were like, alright, she starts as Joker's girlfriend, then she leaves or something happens to him, whatever, and now she's an independent girl boss who don't need no Joker. So apart from the fact that the Joker manipulated her, there's so much more to her character. We see that even as the Joker's henchwoman, she loves the hyenas. She makes friends with other characters, especially her fellow inmates at Arkham Asylum.
Cower before me and witness terror!
Hi, Professor Crane.
Good evening, child. Worship me, fools!
There is more humanity to her than the Joker ever had.
I wanted there to be a girl gang, and at first I was going back and forth on what kind of a girl she should be. She should be sort of like a tough chick who just sort of took orders and said, yeah, a bit of pepper to her. And I like the idea of someone who could kind of keep up with the Joker. Might also get a laugh out of something she said, whereas the Joker might not get a laugh, and that would infuriate him. And yet there should be sort of a Punch and Judy dynamic to him. That makes the villain a little more well-rounded for me. Joker's sort of a hard villain in the fact that he's the least human of all of Batman's adversaries. He doesn't come from a sympathetic background such as Two-Face or Ivy or Mad Hatter or some of the other ones. So you have to look at other ways to flesh out his personality. And we thought, well, it would be good if he had somebody to play off of. So Harley came, sort of like a one-shot character. Then people liked her. I liked her, so I would put her in other stories. And the other directors came to like her, and then Bruce and I sat down over lunch one day, and we came up with an origin story, and we did that as a comic book, and that really grounded the character, the sort of reality of where she fit into the Batman universe.
And that's what makes her more interesting as a character to explore, and unfortunately, it's what we're just not getting. So I do want to say, and it's the reason I wanted to make this video in the first place, Harley Quinn has the potential to be an interesting character. She has the potential to be an anti-hero, the potential to be just a normal civilian, completely away from everything. She has the potential to be Batman's ally. But what DC and Warner Brothers need to realize is that they need to be honest about what kind of a person Harley is, especially in specific incarnations where she actually does a lot of messed up stuff, like in the Arkhamverse. They need to realize that a character like Harley doesn't just snap and immediately become a good character that people are just going to love regardless. You need to show her atoning for what she's done. Because even if she was abused, that doesn't stop her from abusing others. You're really going to have Harley work for that. And seeing episodes of the Batman the Animated Series where she tried, she put in an effort, it shows that she's attempting to make herself better. Like, that's good. If you gave that more focus, you could have so many stories about her trying to be a better person, rather than just, she's gone from the Joker, alright, we're moving on now. Like, no, that stuff should be carried with her. That's something that was so detrimental to her character that it's basically the main reason why she couldn't get her redemption in Batman the Animated Series. Especially not until the Joker was gone. They really need to care about Harley as more than just a marketable character. You can have Harley grow as a character without trying to act like you're embarrassed about what she was.
Yeah, right.
So if there's anything I would like people to take away from this video, it's that I think that Harley Quinn has potential to be a very interesting character. They can take the stuff that was established in Batman the Animated Series, and they can expand on it, flesh this stuff out. They can still use Harley Quinn as one of their most bankable characters, while treating her like an actual character and not just a cheap marketing tactic. I grew up watching Batman the Animated Series, so I'm very attached to Batman, especially the animated series, and seeing a character like Harley, which came from the animated series, get treated so badly in terms of writing, despite the fact that they're trying to push her in so much stuff, it's just frustrating. And seeing how a lot of people have reacted so negatively to a lot of this bad writing, that in their mind they've basically thrown out any potential for her to be anything more than the Joker's abused girlfriend. Like, I think it's wrong, and it's sad, because I really do like this character, and I want her to flourish in a genuine way, rather than just being artificially pushed and completely bastardized. But that's really all I wanted to talk about in this video. So, if you want to support the channel, I've got channel memberships that you can check out down below. You can get benefits to the channel like emotes, previews on upcoming videos, and even uncut versions of videos that I had to edit to get around copyright. You can check out my Patreon or my Subscribestar, where you can support me on either for as low as $1 a month. And you can get most of the benefits that you can get from my memberships, especially previews for upcoming videos and uncut versions of videos that got hit by the copyright bots. So, thank you for watching.
The enemy